Disappointing doesn't even begin to describe what unfolded tonight in Toronto.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. Tonight, we're going to be recapping, reliving, rehashing the 6-2 loss against the Toronto Maple Leafs, why this team is not a playoff team. Dustin Wolf can only do so much, and breaking down just how ugly the numbers were for the Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. And let's just jump right into this, because I feel like we all wasted enough time watching this game. Let's have a nice little therapy session and just let it all out. I don't know how you can watch that game. Not even the full game. You can watch chunks of the game. You can watch first period even the later half, I guess, and say this is not a playoff team. I don't care that they tied it up at the end of the first. Good for them. That's great. But it spiraled out of control in the second period, and how could you sit there and say, I want to watch more games like that? That's exactly the team I want to watch in April and May. You probably aren't even getting out of April, to be entirely honest. Wolf was fine. There was nothing he could have done. Because if you don't have players who are going to play defense or win defensive zone faceoffs or show up, you aren't getting anything. Like, there's nothing more he can do. He is not the only player on your team. It sure looked like it, but he's not. Congratulations to Rasmus Andersson for scoring. I'm very happy to see you break your drought, to end your drought. Always nice to see goals from the Blue Liners. And then Kevin Ball had a goal in the third period that made it 6-2. And yes, the jokes write themselves. I was 6-2 my stomach watching that game. Personally, I think we can just pretend this game never happened. And then the fact that they have to go to Madison Square Garden and play the Rangers tomorrow does not make me feel good about anything. The Rangers have been bad this season. It's been tough. They've had a very tough go of it. But the thing is that they can still score. The Flames can't score. The most infuriating part of tonight was watching the elite talent just pummel over the Flames. And that's what sets the Flames apart from these other teams, right? Because you have, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Matthew Nyes, like all of these players that have that offensive edge that your team is lacking. I feel like there was a time with this team where you knew that Matthew Tkachuk was going to go out there and change the game. It did not feel like you were instantly out of a game when it becomes 3-1. 4-1, sure, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I got to do a lot more work here. But at least with a 3-1 deficit, it wasn't as much of an uphill climb. This team cannot score more than 3 goals. They honestly cannot score more than 2 goals most nights. It feels like. Do not fact check me on that. But it has been abysmal Do you guys know that you need more than goaltending to win? Give Dustin Wolf a knife. Let him start swinging it around. Maybe that'll wake this team up. I don't know. But we're gonna talk more about Dustin Wolf a little bit later. But the fact I think this is maybe like the second game of the season where um Huska pulled the goalie. It has not happened often. Huska likes them to ride out the challenge. And I think the only time I mean, this is probably just because it was the first game of the season, so, like, my memory just whatever. But when I was convinced when the Flames went down 4-1 in the against the Canucks, that first game of the season, that we would have seen Wolf to start the second period. And I think, that's part of it. You have to allow your goalies to build confidence and to not feel like, "Oh, okay, crap, like that was the goal that cost me the rest of the game." Um, I do think a lot of this needs to be looked at from a systems point of view, from a uh, just a roster construction point of view. This team is playing such uninspiring hockey. I know that they think that they can burst their way onto the scene in the postseason and magically smooth sail from there, but it's not happening. You're now I don't know. You were 2 points out of a playoff spot going into tonight's game. That gap is gonna be bigger and bigger, and then you're just gonna be like, "Okay, great. Give me my top 10 draft pick." Like, I don't know what more you could want because clearly they need more high-end talent, and we know where the high-end talent's found, don't we? We've talked about it a lot on this podcast. But coming up next, we're gonna talk about, the numbers. We're gonna look at face-off wins, we're gonna look at power play goals, we're gonna look at shots on net in comparison, and we'll be right back after this. Eating healthy doesn't have to be complicated. With Factor, you get chef made, dietitian approved meals that are ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. So you can fuel your body without the hassle of cooking. Factor meals arrive fresh and never frozen, and with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences. Each week, you can customize your menu to fit your goals, whether that's calorie smart, protein plus, or keto. I like how Factor keeps you on track with healthy, delicious meals without the time consuming prep because I don't have time to be cooking up dinner, getting ready for the Flames, and producing a daily podcast. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off of your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. And we're going to take a trip down Pistachio Lane. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a great source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you full longer. I am a big fan of snacking. I need quick snacks to keep me fueled throughout the day on the go, and Wonderful Pistachios are that snack. The no shell Wonderful Pistachios are so easy to keep right at my desk and when I'm at work or whether I'm here watching the Flames, and just snack all day or until I'm full. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. So let's start at the top. 6-2 loss. Toronto had 29 shots on goal compared to Calgary's 26. That, looking at the 29-26 by itself, not the goals, but those shots, it tells you a few things. Number one, the Flames need to figure out how to shoot more. Number two, they weren't incredibly outshot. The high danger chances, a lot better for Toronto than anywhere near the Flames. And that's the thing. With this Flame system, with Ryan Huska's system, you are getting Jeff Ward type hockey, Daryl Sutter type hockey in terms of low danger chance. Like, you're not creating quality shots. You might be getting quantity, but you can't play every game based off of the ideology of you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, because that is outdated. Not wrong, but just factually outdated. I think that, what the Flames need to do is maybe get a new head coach or someone that can breathe some sort of, I don't want to say offense into this lineup, because I think the issues are so much bigger than offense, but they've got to figure something out, because you're not going anywhere like this. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they have officially bought into not Team Tank, but something. I wanted to shut my laptop when I saw this stat. The Flames were 28.8% at the faceoff dot. I feel like I should be able to print this game stats report out from the NHL.com website and show this to the owners, Craig Conroy, and say, look at this. Do you see what I see? Yes, Michael Backlund is out, and he does, a pretty good job at the faceoff dot, and you're missing him sorely. And you get Connor Zary back tomorrow. Praise the Lord, because you need someone that can draw in as a strong center. I don't know how you can look at this team and say they're a playoff team, because they're not. You're lying to yourself, and at some point you have to admit and accept defeat. The Flames 0 for 4 on the power play. Leafs went 3 for 3. Flames completely unsuccessful on the penalty kill, which shouldn't surprise you. I mean, the penalty kill has been pretty abysmal this year. I don't necessarily it is the lack of personnel. Last year, you, of course, had, Elias Lindholm for a little bit. You had Chris Tanev, who laid his life in front of every single puck. You're missing big pieces of this, and the Flames have to find a way to make up for that. I think that there could be answers within the organization, and they just need to swallow their pride and accept that it might be time to do some call-ups. But the Flames only had 9 giveaways this evening compared to Toronto's 18. That also goes to show you that the Flames really don't know what to do once they get the puck and draw up a play. Like it's not as fluid as you would like, and I think that is just so infuriating. Also, the last time these two teams met in February, Toronto also scored 6 goals. So, um, I don't know what else to say other than if you want to hang with the big dogs, you need to spend some time in the trenches and work your way there. Let's not forget let's not forget that Toronto had multiple high-end picks, a couple years in a row or within a few years of each other. And that's how you get that high-end talent. Like, I understand that the Flames don't have, Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, or Sean Monahan anymore, but look at where those 3 players were picked in the draft. Sean Monahan, now that he's healthy and out from Calgary's I don't know what was going on there, but he's a point per game player. Sam Bennett has absolutely thrived in Florida. Matthew Tkachuk was a star in Calgary, so you don't have to put, too much weight into that. But he, other than being injured right now, he has made the absolute most of his career outside of Calgary to the point where he won a Stanley Cup. So there has to be some changes. They cannot be afraid to pull punches. I don't care if that means trading Rasmus Anderson, Blake Coleman, or, honestly, trade Kevin Ball. Just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Let's really dig deep. Do one and a half more seasons of bad hockey. Reevaluate. But in all seriousness, things just have to change. Things have to change with this team. And the only way that's going to happen is if you start looking at roster construction and seeing what you can do to just improve it. But coming up next, we're going to wrap up the show with just an ode to Dustin Wolf and why tonight kind of likely sealed the deal that he will not be winning the Calder. Do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all of my money go between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, sports? It's super easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it is a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. I like that it is this all-in-one convenience, and instead of juggling multiple apps, trying to remember to log this, taking that into consideration, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan your long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That's Monarch Money, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off of your first year. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, and you're following me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Just Belmosto. I just cannot believe what we witnessed tonight. It's quite a shame, considering how fun things felt, before the game against the Canucks. And even during the game with the Canucks, going back and forth, to eventually just crumbling in a shootout. I'm still questioning a lot of Ryan Huska's decisions in that shootout, and probably will be for quite some time. But tonight likely solidified why Dustin Wolf is not winning the Calder. And it's not necessarily because of anything he did, but because it was a performance against the Toronto Maple Leafs. He got pulled for the third period. That's tough. That's tough in any game. And if a voter needed a reason to justify voting for someone else, or to, maybe they were on the fence, or okay, like now I'm going to vote for Celebrini. Okay, there you go. Because personally, even though Dustin Wolf, like I cover Dustin Wolf and have pretty much his entire pro career, I would vote for him over Celebrini. And I think that he has done a lot for this team. He honestly should be in the Hart conversation as well. I think he just deserves every award because of the nonsense that he's had to deal with this season. But he showed up tonight. His teammates did not. And ultimately, his numbers take the hit. They take their lack of effort is now, like, the consequences are on his shoulders now. I don't think this team expected him to have such a strong full rookie year. Obviously last year he did play a handful of games in the NHL. He struggled a lot. Maybe things were kind of leaning towards, okay, like it's just going to be a bit of a struggle like it was last year to get him, fully acclimated and playing a full season and a full starter schedule. But it's not possible for him to bail you out night in and night out. Not possible. I think that it is, his emergence onto the scene in this year has been unprecedented. He's setting franchise records. He's drawing comparisons to Kiprusoff. Like, he is doing everything right, and it's not his fault that he's doing these things right. Because could you imagine the conversations we'd be having and the discussions of, oh, he is just too small to be a professional goaltender. To be a goaltender in the NHL, you need to be the size of a brick wall that resembles Ben Bishop. Like, those are the conversations that we would be having. And quite frankly, I didn't look at Twitter before, like after the game, I guess, before recording, because I had a feeling those would be the conversation talking points. But it's not about Dustin Wolf. It is about your defense not showing up. Mackenzie Weegar, the fact that Joel Hanley is a first pairing defenseman on your team and you want to sit here and say this is a playoff team, I need you to be serious. I need you to look me in the eye and say, Joel Hanley is absolutely a top pairing defenseman on any good team. No. And that is no disrespect to Joel Hanley, but he is just not a top 4 pairing defenseman. He was used as a 6th and 7th defenseman his career in Dallas. It is fantastic that he has found confidence and, this new side to his game in Calgary. But the Flames can't sign him to a 3-year extension because he played good defense. He's 33 years old. The Flames have enough players in their prospect pool that it's time to call them up, time to give them a chance. Who cares if your team stinks for a year or two? Who cares? I don't. because I want this team to get better. I don't want to waste Dustin Wolf's prime. Are you kidding me? I don't want to waste Connor Zeri's prime or Matt Coronado's prime. The opportunity to learn from past mistakes is once again presenting itself to the Calgary Flames. And who knows? It is very likely that they mess it up. It is so likely. Give the kids a shot. You have your pillars of, your veteran pillars. You have your Jonathan Huberdeau. You have your Nazem Kadri. You have your captain when he's back. You have Mackenzie Weegar. Those are enough pieces. Start taking your roster construction a little more seriously. The only two blue liners that I really want to see back next year would be Rasmus Andersson and Weegar. Because I think Andersson, I don't think they're going to trade him over the summer. But if they were, they should do it. And I'm sure they're just going to offer him an extension. Because what did we learn with Noah Hannafin? With Elias Lindholm? What did we learn? Absolutely nothing. So let's all wash our face and brush our teeth and have a good night. Put this game to rest because the Flames have another game tomorrow against the New York Rangers. And JT Miller, it is on site. You know what you did. I would assume we see Vladar tomorrow. I do not see a world where Huska puts out Dustin Wolf. I just don't. I don't know. But then again, he's using Igor Sharangovich as a center. So, to each their own. All right. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your team every day. I did just get a tweet notification from Pat Steinberg that said, post-game in Toronto, head coach Ryan Huska says pulling Dustin Wolf after 40 was about getting him ready for the next stretch. By no means was this on him tonight in that situation. Well, at least we all watched that same game. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your Calgary Flames every day. And we will be back tomorrow with some more Flames talk as they push for the playoffs.